Our next guest plays the no-nonsense mother on TBS's hit show, Sullivan Son. And in addition to starring on that hit series, she's also a film producer, director, documentarian, and a yoga instructor.
Wow, she does it all. But today she's here to talk about the third and upcoming season of Sullivan Son and her storied career and how she juggles it all. Jodi Long, welcome to Arise 360.
Oh, thank you for having me. So much fun.
How do you do it all, actually?
I have no idea. You know, you just keep going. In this business, I've been in here so long that I just do what I love, and here we are.
And here we are. So congratulations on a third season. That must be so exciting for you.
It is so exciting.
Did you have any idea the show would be so well received?
No, I only take it one day at a time. I really do. I always just say, do the work, and everything else will fall into place, hopefully. And so, yeah, it's been a great thrill, and we have a great cast. And Roy was here last week, another member of the cast.
He was really funny,
Right.
actually.
And for those that don't know, the show actually resembles sort of like a modern-day Cheers.
That's right.
Did you grow up watching the show Cheers? Did you know of it before and were you a fan?
Well, of course, I knew of it. I wasn't watching TV during that time.
Okay.
This is not at all.
But
Fast forward. Let's talk about your show.
Well, Rob Long, who was one of the creators of Cheers and producers there, is our producer, and Vince Vaughn, and with Steve Byrne, who plays my son, and they kind of came up with sort of going back to the old format of sitcoms.
Yeah.
And it's set in a working class bar in Pittsburgh, and what I love about the show is that it's a really diverse cast. Besides being, you know, a mixed race family, the whole bar is just, you know, it represents America
And
today.
it's full of comedians.
Yeah.
So
And it's full of comedians.
How do you get any work done on that
We
show?
do. Listen, they'll do 5 minutes on that necklace. They'll come in and say, oh, you know, and they'll go, and you're like, oh my God.
Exactly. So how do you get any work done? Are you constantly having to be like, you guys, cut it out, we've got to work? Or is it just a lap a minute and you
It's
just
a
roll
lap
with
a minute.
it? Yeah.
I mean, I have the best job, really.
Yeah, and your character, you are like the Asian immigrant mother. You come in and you keep it like it is. You tell it like it is, how you see it. You call the shots.
Absolutely.
So, who did you base this character off of? Is this someone in your life?
Yes, actually, and she lives in Queens, in New York. I won't say her name because
Oh, come on.
I grew up with her, but she's very much Okcha for me. And it's also based on Steve Byrne's mom, the real Okcha.
All
Okay.
right. So that's a real life tiger mom out there that it's based
Real
on.
life, yeah.
Okay.
Most Asian mothers are real life tiger moms.
Is that true?
It is absolutely true.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
the hit book came out, obviously, but
It's absolutely
It's absolutely true.
especially for an immigrant mother, because they just want the best and they want their children to succeed, have a better life in the old country. You know, it just goes on and on and on. But it's also they just exact it from you.
What were your parents like? Did you have a tiger mother?
A little bit, not as bad as Okcha, but she was very exacting on me. Always made me do my homework. Very meticulous and gave me a lot of discipline.
They were in show business as well, though,
That's
right?
right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
your father was a tap dancer?
He was a tap dancer,
Uh-huh.
and my mom was a showgirl.
Really?
Yeah, and
What was that like growing up with parents in the business like that?
well, you know, I grew up backstage, so I saw it all. And, you know, my dad used to exchange tap routines with Sammy Davis Jr.
You were kidding.
No, I mean, they played the Palace, I mean, the whole thing. So, but they were Asian American, and their act actually started very sort of old world, Chinky Chinaman. Can I say
Okay.
that on TV? And then they would morph into this sort of Ginger Roger, Fred Astaire tap dancing team.
Wow. So did they want you to go and follow in their footsteps or go at a quote-unquote normal job?
My mother wanted me to have a normal job. She wanted me to be an English teacher.
Okay.
Even though English was my worst subject. But my dad, he just really felt that you should always do what you love to do. And, you know, I did my first Broadway show when I was 7, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to Performing Arts High School here in New York City. And I fell in love with acting.
Really?
And my mother was like, oh, no. And my dad was like, go for it.
Wow. That's good
And,
shit.
you know, his philosophy was when you're 30, you want to be a truck driver because you love that, then do that.
Then do that.
That's great. That's
You
great.
know?
And you tell your parents' story in your documentary.
That's right.
Really?
Long story short.
Long story short. What made you decide to share that with the world?
I had just been cast in Flower Drum Song, that was the revival on Broadway, and my dad had done it 50 years before.
Wow.
And a friend of mine,
full circle moment.
full circle moment, and a friend of mine said, this is an incredible story. So she started it, I had nothing to do with it, and then ran out of money and gave it to me And then I handed it to Christine Choi, award-winning documentary filmmaker, and she was like, what a story. So because I had found, my parents were on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1950, long before I was born, and I found the footage.
That is a remarkable legacy.
Yeah, so that most people don't know that Asian Americans were running around doing that kind of entertainment.
Wow. Was it fulfilling for you to uphold their legacy and, you know, capture it like this?
Absolutely. I mean, my parents never saw themselves on the Ed Sullivan Show because it was live. And in those days, there were no TiVo, no VHS, nothing.
Right.
So my father thought he had bombed on the show.
He had no idea.
He had no idea.
For decades.
For decades. So to show it to him was really gratifying. And my mother. And because they both didn't remember it, but yet they did. I mean, you see it. You can get it on Amazon.com, long story short, documentary.
Now sell it.
No, really. And yeah, it was really very gratifying.
Were there any discoveries about your parents that you encountered when you were making this documentary? Something new that blew your mind, other than appearing on Ed Sullivan, of course?
You know what blew my mind was my parents divorced, and they had a very acrimonious divorce. And coming full circle with Flower Drum Song and the documentary, they actually put aside all their differences and came together. Not as a couple, but I mean, it was really very healing for the family.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Wow. And another project that's very healing for many people is the indie film you're working on, A Picture of You. Tell us more about that.
Yes, it's here at the AMC 7 in New York on 3rd Avenue and 10th Street. It just opened June 20th. Last Friday, and it's just gotten extended for another week.
Nice.
Because we did really good box office for a little independent film. And I play this mother who's passed away, and her children go back to close up her house, an incredible house, and they find out Mom's had a secret all this time. So it kind of throws them into a whole other thing.
Oh, we love secrets.
Yeah.
And I played the
that
mom. I played the mom.
So you're the one with the skeletons, huh? All right.
Now, yoga instructor.
Yeah.
I know. Do 360 degrees. That's the name of the show, right?
Exactly. Talk to us about that. Do you still practice?
Oh,
do
yeah.
Do you
I still
teach
practice.
occasionally?
I don't teach right now formally because I'm so busy.
Right. You have a lot going on.
Yeah. And I only taught for a little period of time. Kundalini yoga changed my life.
In what way?
You know, it really taught me how to be neutral. You know how we have that sort of dialogue in our head, oh, my hair's not good, I look terrible today, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, whatever, right? And that's the negative side of our brain. Then we have the positive, oh, he's so great, I love him, oh, life is so great. Then there's that neutral moment, where the neutrality. And that's a really great place to work from, because then you're not colored by anything, right? And you can walk in your life, especially when the stressors are coming at you, with grace. And I was going through a hard period of my life, and my family members were sick, yada, yada. And I was doing this yoga, and then I started doing teacher training. And I tell you, if I hadn't been doing it at the time, you would have had to scrape me off the wall.
Wow.
But I really kind of got through it. I knew I had to get through it. And you know, that time when the stuff is flying off the fan at you, you have to keep your head down and keep going.
And just plow through it.
Plow through it.
That explains how you're able to balance everything in your life now.
It's
Keep
true.
it focused, keep it straight.
You know, it's absolutely true. So it really changed my life, and I recommend it to people who are going through stuff, and I go, just because to center yourself, to meditate, to breathe, to learn how to do certain breathing exercises. And Kundalini Yoga strengthens your nervous system, so it really gives you incredible tools. It's really a technology.
Well,
right.
Jodi, something tells me you'll have about 10 more projects by the time we see you again.
Definitely.
We'll do a class right here.
That would be awesome, actually. Please come back again.
Yes, thanks
All
so
right.
much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.